What if I told you that everything you've been taught about emotions, about controlling your mind, was wrong? What if the key to emotional mastery wasn't about pushing feelings down or trying to suppress them, but about taking full control and using them as tools to shape the world around you? What if, instead of running from the parts of you that make you uncomfortable, you embraced them and turned them into your greatest strength? Imagine this. The next time someone insults you, challenges you, or makes you angry, instead of reacting, you stay completely calm and collected. You feel the power surging through you, but you control it. You use it to remain still, poised, and confident. Instead of letting the chaos take over, you redirect it to your advantage. Does it sound too good to be true? It's not. It's emotional dominance, not emotional intelligence. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why emotional dominance is the secret to becoming unstoppable. This isn't some surface-level advice. What I'm sharing with you today is a recalibration of your mind. We're going deep, diving into the core of who you are, and finding the parts you've hidden away. Your shadow. The pieces of you that make others uncomfortable. The parts of you that, when used correctly, can make you a force no one can ignore. So buckle up, grab a pen and paper, because we're not just talking theory. We're diving into real, practical steps to take back your power. This is the path to becoming unshakable, unstoppable, and undeniably in control. Part 1. The power of emotional control. Let's begin with the most important part of this transformation: emotional control. But let me be clear, this isn't about denying your emotions or pretending to be some cold, distant figure. No. This is about owning your emotions and using them with purpose. It's about taking those parts of you that have been called bad or unacceptable, like jealousy, anger, rage, and turning them into a strategic advantage. Why is this so important? Because most of us have been taught to suppress these feelings. We've been told that anger is bad, jealousy is evil, and pride is wrong. But here's the truth. These emotions aren't evil. They're human. And when you stop denying these traits, you free up energy to use them in a way that serves you, rather than controlling you. Think about it for a second. How many times have you suppressed your feelings to keep the peace? How many times have you smiled through the pain, laughed to cover up the frustration, or kept quiet when you knew you had something important to say? Every time you did that, you locked away a part of your true power. You dimmed your brilliance. But no more. Here's where we get deep. Your subconscious mind doesn't just passively absorb information. It's always scanning, recording, filtering, and storing. And it's always working with rules. Rules that dictate who you're allowed to be. The rules come from your family, society, and childhood experiences. The rules tell you that being loud is wrong, that feeling anger is inappropriate, that being selfish makes you a bad person. And guess what? Every time you followed those rules, you weakened your true self. Here's the catch. The subconscious mind doesn't question whether these rules are true. It simply asks, does this keep me safe? If showing anger as a child got you punished, you learned to suppress it. If being confident got you rejected, you dialed it down. If being different made you feel unsafe, you buried your uniqueness. Now here's where it gets powerful. These rules aren't just limiting, they're holding you back. Every time you suppress a part of yourself, you're giving away your power. But when you face your darkness, when you integrate those parts of you that you've been running from, you unlock a power that no one can take from you. This is where shadow integration comes into play. The shadow isn't some spooky metaphor. It's a real psychological mechanism. When you stop running from it, when you embrace it, you gain access to a force within you that's raw, untamed, and unstoppable. You stop being fragile, you stop being reactive, and you become completely unshakable. So let's start the process of reclaiming that power. It's time to stop hiding and start embracing who you truly are. Part 2. The dangers of emotional control. But here's the thing. With great power comes great responsibility. And there's a dangerous side to emotional dominance. It's easy to get lost in the control, to go too far, to forget that emotional control must always be balanced with humanity. If you go too deep into the shadow without balance, you risk becoming detached, cold, and, frankly, dangerous. Think about it. If you never allow yourself to feel anger, jealousy, or frustration, you risk losing your ability to connect with people. You risk becoming emotionally numb. And when you become numb, you lose touch with what makes you human. You lose the empathy that connects you to others, the understanding that makes you a true leader. True emotional dominance is not about becoming cold and calculating. It's about learning how to engage with your emotions and use them without becoming a slave to them. It's about using your anger, your jealousy, your fear, not to destroy, but to create, to protect, to push forward. Here's the problem when you don't balance your shadow. You become what I call a tyrant. A tyrant doesn't need anyone else. He doesn't need empathy, or love, or connection. He just controls. But here's the truth. People don't respect a tyrant. They fear him. They avoid him. But they don't respect him. Real power, the kind that comes from emotional control, is the kind that also comes with empathy. It's not about shutting off your emotions. It's about understanding them, channeling them, and choosing when to use them. When you lose that balance, that's when you start to lose yourself. And the worst part is, you won't even know it's happening. So let's talk about how we can keep that balance. How can you wield emotional control without becoming cold? The key lies in integrating your shadow without losing your humanity. Part 3. Mastering the balance. This is the most important part. How to master emotional dominance without losing your soul in the process. Because here's the thing, emotional control doesn't mean suppressing everything. It's about learning how to use everything at your disposal strategically. You own your emotions. You don't run from them. Shadow integration isn't about rejecting your darkness, it's about mastering it. When you're not afraid to face your flaws, your weaknesses, and your hidden traits, you gain an understanding of how to control them. You stop allowing them to control you. Think about your anger. For most of your life, you've probably been told to suppress it. Don't be so angry. Why are you so mad? But anger isn't bad. It's a tool. If you've been angry because you've been mistreated, that anger can help you set boundaries. It can help you say no when you need to, without feeling guilty. Anger, when used correctly, becomes a form of self-protection. But here's the trick. It has to be used with awareness. Now let's talk about pride. For most people, pride is something that's either hidden or blown out of proportion. But when you own your pride, when you see it for what it really is, a reflection of your value and self-worth, it becomes a tool for maintaining your standards. It becomes your confidence. When you integrate the shadow, you start to understand that all the traits you've been running from are not inherently bad. They're parts of you that you can use to shape your life. They're pieces of the puzzle that make you whole. And when you're whole, you become unstoppable. This process of mastering your emotions isn't easy. It's not about simply learning to control your reactions. It's about reprogramming your mind to see your emotions as tools. Tools you can use consciously, strategically, and without fear. The mirror effect. Recognizing your triggers. Now let's get to the real power move. Recognizing your triggers. I want you to think about someone who really triggers you. Someone who gets under your skin, makes your blood boil. What is it about them that drives you crazy? Is it their arrogance? Their manipulation? Their emotional coldness? Here's the powerful truth. What triggers you in others is often the very thing you're rejecting in yourself. It's the part of you that you don't want to face. The part of you that's ashamed to admit that you, too, can be manipulative, arrogant, or emotionally cold. But instead of seeing these traits in others as something to despise, use them as a mirror. Ask yourself, why does this bother me? Where have I done this before? The truth is, what triggers you isn't always about them. It's about you. And until you face it, you'll never fully reclaim your power. When you recognize your triggers, you take back control. You stop being emotionally reactive, and you start becoming emotionally sovereign. You become the master of your emotions, not the servant of them. The secret weapon: using your dark traits consciously. So now let's talk about how to use your dark traits consciously. The parts of you that you've been hiding, your anger, your jealousy, your pride, these can all become your secret weapons. But only if you learn how to wield them with awareness. For example, anger. If you've been suppressing your anger for years, it might seem scary to let it out. But what if you could use that anger consciously to set boundaries, to protect yourself from people who don't respect you? Anger can be a force for good when used strategically. What about jealousy? Instead of allowing jealousy to consume you and ruin your confidence, what if you used it to fuel your drive? Jealousy is a signal that someone else has something you want. Use that emotion as a catalyst to push yourself toward your own goals. Manipulation. It's a dirty word, right? But at its core, manipulation is just influencing people to get what you want. And influence isn't bad when used ethically. When you stop fearing your manipulative tendencies and start using them consciously, you can become a master of persuasion. And with persuasion comes power. Shadow integration isn't about rejecting these traits. It's about owning them and learning how to use them consciously. And when you do that, you realize that these traits were never your enemies. They were just tools you weren't using. Now, you know how to wield them. And when you can do that, you'll never be powerless again. The path to power. Here's the big question. Are you ready to stop running from your darkness? Are you ready to stop pretending to be something you're not? The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who know how to integrate their shadow. People who can walk through the fire and come out stronger on the other side. The path to true power doesn't involve pretending you're flawless. It doesn't involve hiding your darkness. The path to real power is about embracing your darkness and using it to your advantage. When you stop pretending to be perfect, you stop being fragile. You become whole. So I ask you again, are you ready to step into your true power? Are you ready to stop playing small, to stop being reactive, and to start commanding your life? If so, hit that subscribe button. I've got so much more coming your way. This is just the beginning. Just hit the like and subscribe button and support Dark Mind 999 for more interesting videos, and I will see you in the next one.